the COVID-19 pandemic set in, we all got to do all kinds of new things, right? All learned all kinds of new things. And one of the things we had to learn to do was online congregational meetings. Uh, these mostly have gone well, but as we're moving into a stage of where it looks like hybrid meetings are here to stay, even as kind of COVID waxes and wanes, a lot of our congregations have moved to hybrid streaming models, which will, in essence, require us to do hybrid congregational meetings. Now, for most matters taken care of at congregational meetings, you don't need to worry about the two tools I'm going to show you today. Usually, a lot of our congregational meetings, electing officers and things like that, most votes are taken by what I would call general consent, or the will of the body. A slate of officers is presented. Are there any nominations from the floor? Usually there's not. The officers are elected and things go on. But sometimes we do have congregational meetings that require ballot votes. Examples of this: basically contested elections for elders and other officers, for pastors, sometimes for dissolving calls. And in cases where we need a ballot, there's kind of two methods that we have kind of looked at, used, and will kind of sanction or sign off on for doing online congregational meetings. I want to show you those two. So the easiest method is actually just to use Zoom. Now, some people have said, well, can you just use the chat? The answer is yes and no. The no part is that normally in Zoom, the chat settings are set to be public. You can't have that. You can't have people chatting out their vote to everyone. But what you can do in Zoom is, if you want to do this, what you have to do is go in here and you see where it says participants can chat with hosts and co-hosts. That way, only chat messages can come to anybody who's a host or a co-host. Now, the downside to this is that it doesn't preserve confidentiality. The host does know how people vote. That needs to be made clear to everyone involved, that the host will know how everyone votes. And then you will simply receive a yes or no, through the chat. The downside to this is that the host then has to tabulate those votes. They have to kind of sit there with either a piece of paper or a spreadsheet open and keep track of all those things. So it's not ideal. It doesn't necessarily uphold confidentiality. If someone raises a stink about votes being confidential, there's really nothing you can do if you're doing Zoom. So it's not to do it. It can be done, and it can be done in a pinch. But I'm going to suggest a different tool that I actually like better, and I'm going to show you that now. So we'll end that, and I'm going to introduce you to a tool called Mentimeter. So this is Mentimeter, and this is what it is going to look like when you go to the website for the first time. You're going to go to sign up, and you can sign up with your email or Facebook or Google. I've already done that, by the way, and I've done it in using just my personal email address. So I'm going to go ahead, and it's going to do sign up with Google, and there we go. So now I'm in my Mentimeter account, and what I want you to see is that I am on a free plan. So as you set it up, it will ask you, what are you going to use this for? And that really doesn't matter. That's just for the internal company stuff. But you get to pick your billing plan, and you should pick free. A free plan is all you're going to need to do this, okay? So when you get in there, you're going to go to New Presentation, right? And the new presentation, I'm going to say, Call Pastor Vote Sample. Okay. And it's very simple, multiple choice, right? So multiple choice, you can say, I've already come up uh, with some, but we'll just do this. That First Presbyterian Church, call Reverend Jane Doe as pastor, effective October 1st, 2021. Yes and no. That's it. That's it. Okay? That's it. Your presentation is ready. You should have terms of call available, either printed out or that can be done using share screen on Zoom, but that's all you need. Then you're going to go over here to customize. You're going to do these two things. You're going to click close voting, and you're going to click hide results. Okay? Then the instructions that you're going to give people are, you're going to say to go to, I'll pull up another incognito window here. You're going to go to menti.com, not Mentimeter, menti.com. And then you're going to see at the top of the presentation a code, 70689799, and you're going to tell people to put that code in. So I'm going to go ahead and do that in this window, and voila, here's the ballot, all right? And then people just simply check yes or no, except right now they can't because voting is closed, right? So you can have this all ready. this can be all ready to go before your congregational meeting. Don't open voting. Don't release the code until the meeting starts, right? Because people need to be present at the meeting in order to vote. That's part of our polity. But as soon as you're ready, you just simply unclick close voting, and people will begin to see that that voting is no longer closed. I'm going to click yes, submit. Okay. Now, again, you have an unlimited audience, so as many people as you need, whether you're doing this for 20 people or 80 or 150, it doesn't matter. And what you're going to see over here is you're going to see that it's really small on your screen, but it's going to show you that voting is beginning to happen, right? Now, what I do on Zoom is I put this out in the chat. So I'll put it out in the chat and say, please visit menti.com and enter this code. I make a Word document with the information on it, and I share screen during voting. I send out in the chat, please let me know if anyone's having issues voting. I do all that kind of stuff. What you do need to know about Mentimeter is this is one of the advantages of it, but also a downfall, is that it only allows one vote per device. You can have more than one vote per household, obviously, but only one vote per device. So if you have more than one person in the house who's eligible to vote, they are going to need to have multiple devices in order to cast that vote. That's one of the security features built into Menti. You can't ballot stuff from one device, right? One person can't sit there and vote 40 times. It's part of the reason why we like this tool. So people will need more than one device. In a lot of cases, that's not a problem, right? They can get a phone. So even if they're, sitting on their tablet for the actual congregational meeting, they can pull out their phone, and one person can vote on the tablet, one person can vote on the phone. If that's not possible, they need to vote another way. And you can then do, chat with host, things like that kind of a workaround. They can give their vote verbally. I've done that. Again, those aren't as ideal because they don't preserve confidentiality. But as long as most people can vote in a confidential manner, as long as people really have an interest in confidentiality, they can be present in person for the meeting, I think we're okay. So then once you're done, once you've made sure everyone has been able to vote, you then go in here and you go close voting and take off hide results. And then it'll show you the final total, right? So close voting so no one else can add, and click and uncheck hide results. And that will give you your results. So we've used Mentimeter a lot with a lot of congregational meetings. We found it to be very, very helpful. If you're in the really unusual situation of needing to elect, multiple, if you had a contested election for officers, you could do that. You could do, I'll show you real quick. Again, multiple choice, elders, class of 2023, and you could do, Sam, Jane, Ralph, Sally, and Mitchell, right? Let's say those are your 5. And then what you can say is you come in here, go let participants choose multiple options and move it to 3, right? So again, if you're doing a multiple choice, now you can actually use this tool, by the way, even if you are doing like a congregational survey or something, same thing. But I'm going to show you for electing officers. Then people will then be able to go on same way, go into customize, close voting, hide results. As soon as you're ready, uncheck close voting. They can then go in. I'll show you over here. We'll enter that code 31641285. And you can see you may choose up to 3 options, and it gives you the options to check. So it works really, really well. We've used this for a lot of cases. We strongly recommend it. It's free. As a presbytery, we actually have a paid account because we were using some of the more advanced features. We're doing a lot of these. But for a single congregation, there's no need to need more than a free account. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me at presbytery office.